This video brought to you gladly, proudly even, by the Magic Candle Company. Stay tuned until the end of the video to find out how you can make your own home or office or attic smell just like the attic of the Haunted Mansion.
When hinges creak in doorless chambers, and strange and frightening sounds echo through the halls, whenever candlelights flicker where the air is deathly still, that is the time when ghosts are present, practicing their terror with ghoulish delight.
Welcome, foolish mortals, to the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool little toy. Too bad I'm not using it today because we are going back to the mansion, friends. It's been too long since I've made a video about the Haunted Mansion. That's why I'm wearing my Haunted Mansion shirt today. That doesn't go very well with this green screen because when I put a background in it, it just sort of like shows in the back. But I think it's funny, so I'm going to keep it. Welcome back, everyone, to the Haunted Mansion. Today I wanted to talk about some theories, some fan theories about this attraction. Some that are really, really good, and one that I think has a few holes in it. Ah, yes, the Haunted Mansion. One of Disneyland and Walt Disney World's best, screw it. The Disney Park's most popular, iconic attractions that has been delighting guests for the better part of 52 years and has been providing me with countless theories and ideas for videos and just things to talk about in general. You see, with the Haunted Mansion, there's not really any concrete story, not like, say, Rise of the Resistance, where you get captured by the First Order and you have to escape their Star Destroyer and get back to Batuu, or Space Mountain at Disneyland, where a government/corporative entity slingshots you millions, if not billions of years in the future before bringing you back to the present to accomplish some sort of mission. Oh, it's a whole thing. Ask LMG vids about it. It's a whole thing. But my point is that the Haunted Mansion doesn't have a story that's as set in stone as other dark rides, similar to Pirates of the Caribbean over there across the way. And this lack of a plot has generated tens, if not hundreds, of theories about what is actually going on inside the mansion, what belongs to whom, and who is really pulling the strings. And I've talked about a fair few of them right here on this channel. Seriously, just search 31 Nights of the Haunted Mansion. I'm bound to pop up. And this video, I really wanted to spotlight three things that really stood out to me on my last trip to the Haunted Mansion in Anaheim. There are some things that I noticed that don't quite line up with some existing fan theories, and some things and some details that I wanted to talk about, so I figured why not just toss it all in this cool Haunted Mansion video that I think you all are going to love. First thing, though, is the Haunted Mansion death theory. For those of you who are unaware, a real quick and dirty version of the Haunted Mansion death theory: you are a tourist or a visitor or intruder in the Haunted Mansion, invited on a tour by the ghost host, shown all these different rooms of the mansion before reaching the attic, where in the attic you find Constance Hatchaway, the Black Widow bride, who proceeds to either scare or push you out of the window. You fall backwards, hence the doom buggy sort of turning around, and you die. This is why you can finally see the ghosts begin to materialize. You are invited to the party and they want you to be a part of it because you yourself are now a ghost. That is the quick and dirty of the Haunted Mansion death theory. But there's a few problems with it. You see, I think the biggest crux, the thing that the entire theory relies on with the death theory, is that you don't see any ghosts before you do that backwards plunge into the graveyard. But this is simply not true. You see multiple spirits. You see the guy in the coffin. You see the raven. Is the raven a spirit? Let's talk about that a little bit later in the video. I do want to come back to that, though. Madame Leota is there. You see, and more importantly, those are all like sort of like spirits, like, you know, they can be explained, possessed items, whatever. The ghosts have apparitions in the ballroom. You can see them the same way you see them in the graveyard. Yeah, they're a little translucent, but they're still there. You can still see them. I'm not quite sure why people think that you can't see the ghosts until you go backward into the graveyard, especially like the Hatbox Ghost. If you want to argue that the ballroom ghosts are translucent, you can see through them, so therefore you are not with them. Constance really isn't. The Hatbox Ghost isn't really as well. They're both very physical beings, so I think it can be argued that the mansion death theory, I don't know if it holds any water. Although, please be sure to keep in mind that me saying you do not die on the Haunted Mansion doesn't necessarily mean that you're not falling out of the attic. That, you know, could be happening. In fact, let's consult the book. This, my friends, without any microphone sound at all, is the book. Haunted Mansion Sights and Sounds, the Disneyland official record. From the Walt Disney Studio, the story and song from the Haunted Mansion. It's a book, and it's also a CD that you can put in your CD player and listen to. This is the closest thing we have to an official story for the Haunted Mansion. It tells you all about everyone on the inside. Everyone from the ballroom scene. Everyone, and I mean everyone, from the attic. And here's what it says about the attic. The attic shelters two strange ghosts, a bride whose heart glows red with each rhythmical beat, and a cloaked man whose head disappears from his body and glows hideously from within a hat box. We make our escape through the dormer window and descend to the graveyard below. And then they just talk about the caretaker and his dog. It doesn't mention falling, it just mentions we make an escape. It doesn't say we die or anything. This is like the canon, there's a Lafitte's Tomb, Haunted Mansion book, and there's nothing at all in here to suggest that you die. For another example of another comprehensive guide to the Haunted Mansion, look no further than The Haunted Mansion, Imagineering a Disney Classic by Jason Sorrell. It takes you through the history, pre-build, building, and eventually a full ride through with, fun facts of these older versions of the mansion that's not quite up to date before we get to the attic and then eventually the graveyard. And in the graveyard section it says, after passing the lovelorn bride, the doom buggies fall out of an attic window, though the guests are still safely inside the show building, all under the watchful glowing red eyes of the raven perched on a nearby tree. So again, do they fall? Do they? Do we need more books? I have more books. I could show off some more Haunted Mansion references if we want to go through the books, but so far, there's been no reference to death or dying. It's all just sort of a fan theory. Which brings me to my next point though, because you can never really tell for sure when these fan theories are going to be made canon or official story points. A good example of this would be the hitchhiking ghosts at the end of the Haunted Mansion, Phineas, Ezra, and Gus. They originally didn't have those names. They were given to them by cast members and guests over the years. And those names were spread around so often that Disney decided eventually just to make them their actual names in the ride. So that is canon now. These are really Phineas, Ezra, and Gus. That's not just a fan thing, that's their names. So if the Haunted Mansion death theory becomes popular enough, it gets spread around often, and guests and cast members alike start to really believe it and hone in on it, maybe it'll end up making its way to Imagineering and someday become canon, but so far that's not the case. Another fun one that I like to tell people that became sort of part of the official story after the fans made it their own is the wedding ring embedded in the ground in front of the Haunted Mansion in Orlando, not in Anaheim, sorry. It started off as the remnant of a support stanchion for like one of the poles for the switchbacks, and then eventually became so popular as a quote-unquote wedding ring that when Disney redid the queue, they made it an actual wedding ring. So that sort of made this unassuming little spot in the ground where a pole would go into a genuine piece of Haunted Mansion lore. So for me, I think it's safe to say that the Haunted Mansion death theory at this point in time, right now, as of the making of this video, is debunked. Yes, you may fall, or you may jump, or you may descend out of the attic window, but there is no proof to say that you are dead and joining the ghosts. I think you are very much alive, because you do see ghosts earlier in the attraction. Okay, well, now that I've crushed that theory and the dreams of all of those who believe in that theory, I think we should move on to another one. I don't know which one, though. I'm trying to think of it, and what... Oh no, not the raven again. Ugh, last time it got in, it pooped all over the duvet. Who let the raven in? The raven in the Haunted Mansion is one of my favorite remaining mysteries. We found out how many ghosts are in the mansion, kind of. We've thrown out theories that Constance is the owner, that all of the mansion connects back to a secret society that a lot of us actually know about now. But the one thing that still haunts me is that raven. Or crow? Nah, that's a raven. That's a raven for sure. I just don't know what this guy's deal is. Is he the ghost host? I mean, he does appear at points of the attraction when the ghost host speaks to us, and he was, in fact, going to be leading us through the mansion in one of the original story pitches for the ride, but not really anymore. He's just in there. Where does he come from? Does he live in the house? Is this a real raven or a ghost, spooky, possessed demon raven? I have none of the answers. And trust me, I've looked. Here is what we have on the raven that's official. Referring back to the story and song of the Haunted Mansion, the raven on the very first page is referred to as a guide. He is our guide through the haunted house. Without the ghost host, the ghost host isn't really present in the story and song from the Haunted Mansion. There he is in the ballroom, which he can be found in the attraction. Not in the attic, but also in the graveyard, where he can indeed be found. And that's the end of the raven in the book. But he's in here and he's our guide. So that sort of leads into the whole he was the original ghost host sort of leading us through the mansion thing. But that's not really the case with the attraction today. Coming straight from the horses, and by horses I mean ex Atencio's mouth, we tried at the beginning at having a raven be the ghost host that would take you through, but it didn't work. The raven's small size made it difficult to stage amid all the elaborate sets and eye-popping special effects. He kept getting lost in the chaos, and they quickly decided to drop him in favor of a simpler, disembodied ghost host voice that we know and love today. Paul Frees. So the closest thing we have is he's in the ride because he was supposed to be the ghost host, but that doesn't really have any impact on the actual current story of the ride. And then we also have he's sort of our ghost host as he leads us through the mansion. I'm a bit confused. So I think if we're going squarely off of the story and song from the Haunted Mansion, the thing that the original Imagineers who worked on the ride had a hand in, I think not only do we need to read what's inside, but we also need to listen to what's inside. Because like I said, there's also a CD in here about the story of the Haunted Mansion, a loose retelling of the story that was okayed by the original Imagineers. And I don't have a CD player, so we're gonna have to go on a little field trip. Come on, it's this way. Look at that rain come down. We'll never get home on time. Sure we will. I made the Grinch. Fun fact, that's actually... The boy, Mike, is actually Ron Howard, the guy who directed the Grinch. Like the good Grinch. That's crazy.
When hinges squeak in doorless chambers, and strange and frightening sounds echo through the halls.
I feel like I do a better ghost host. Lightning flashed from above the room, illuminating the attic area. There seemed to be no roof. From the rafters, a corpse swayed, dangling from a taut rope. A black raven flew into the room and perched on the bookcase. Wait, hold on. The raven talks in this one? The raven. Whoa! It's okay. It's just that raven. Did someone scream? We didn't mean to frighten you prematurely. Apparently, the restless spirit of an old nag has taken possession of that poor, wretched raven's mortal being. Be on your guard. It may want to better itself. Come along now. So according to the kind of ghost host, the raven is possessed by the spirit of an old hag, which according to Wikipedia is a wizened old woman or kind of fairy or goddess having the appearance of such a woman, often found in folklore and children's tales. And that the hag is actively looking for a body to upgrade to. It's sick of being stuck in this bird and would rather be in probably, I would guess, a human's body. And while this book may or may not be canon, it does sort of give an explanation as to why the raven acts so weird and to why its eyes are glowing. I don't know if you noticed this, but normal ravens do not have glowing red eyes, so yes, I would assume it is possessed by a hag. I don't know, but it certainly is possessed by something. I think at the end of the day, the story of the raven from the Haunted Mansion isn't quite as cut and dry as the Haunted Mansion death theory. You know, with the death theory, it can kind of be open to interpretation a little bit, but I don't think it's true. I think there's like a 99% chance that that theory is false, but the raven? That's a true mystery. One of the mysteries of the mansion that I'm hoping actually never gets answered, because that's sort of part of the allure for me of the Haunted Mansion. Not having a set in stone beginning, middle, and end to the story. You have characters, you have scenes, but they're not really telling a story. The closest thing you have to a story is you're taking a tour through a haunted mansion. That's about it. And that, I think, is one of the appeals of these kinds of dark rides, like Pirates, like Mansion, is that you can essentially drop anybody into the ride at any point and they still sort of get the same experience. Obviously, it's not going to be as long, but you get the gist of it. You're in a haunted mansion and there happen to be ghosts and you're going through different rooms, or you're in a town in the Caribbean that's being sacked by pirates. Sometimes it's a cave, but most of the time it's a town. sometimes a bayou. Mysteries, I think, are good. Is the old man at the very beginning of Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland remembering his days as a pirate? That's why you go down that dark waterfall into the spooky pirate cave before coming out on the other side in the middle of a siege? Maybe. It's certainly possible. Are you personally writing Casey Jr. to explore Fantasyland, or is it an odyssey through the untamed wilds of this fantasy kingdom where the same song plays over and over and over again and you're forced into a tiny little box where you don't really fit and it's kind of uncomfortable? I'm gonna say that this theory is true. Now, I've talked about 2 different sort of mysteries, theories in the Haunted Mansion. There's plenty more to talk about. This book that I had, The Imagineering, a Disney classic, is full of stories of the Haunted Mansion, abandoned story concepts, characters, props, and show scenes that never ended up showing up. So if you want to hear more, please be sure to give this video a like so I know that you all want more Haunted Mansion because, like I said, I love the Haunted Mansion. I could talk about it all day. Really want to talk about the Wax Candle Man. I love this guy so much. He needs to be in the ride. I don't care what form he takes, he needs to be in it. Like, what would he smell like? Like, he's a candle man, right? So he's got to give off some sort of scent. What would a wax candle man in the Haunted Mansion smell like? Wait a second, I know what he would smell like because of today's sponsor! That's right, ladies and gentlemen, today's episode of Offhand Disney was brought to you by the Magic Candle Company. Visit the link in the description down below, or just visit magiccandlecompany.com and use offer code OFFHAND15 at checkout for 15% off your order. Folks, these guys have the very best Disney parks and Universal scented candles, bath bombs, wax melts, hand sanitizers, hand soaps. They have it all. It's all just waiting to be discovered by you. So what are you waiting for? Be like me, make your room smell like Jean Lafitte himself by lighting the Haunted and the Pirate's Life candle at the same time. I mean, I say it a lot, but it's a super secret special scent you can only learn about here on the Offhand Disney channel. You're welcome. But if candles aren't really your thing, they have room sprays too, so you can make your room smell spooky without lighting the candle or hearing the crackling of the wick.
Okay. That's better.
Again, that's offer code OFFHAND15 for 15% off your purchase, and a big thank you to the Magic Candle Company for sponsoring this video. Now, where was I before I was talking about the Wax Man? Oh yeah, Haunted Mansion theories and mysteries. Let me ask you all this question after all of this discussion about the mansion. What do you think is the most canonical story that has been sort of put out there into the world so far? Maybe it's Tales from the Haunted Mansion. Maybe it's the story and sounds like I was listening to earlier in the car. That raven was really mean, by the way. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below because I am always one. I am always ready to take on the sights, the sounds, the smells, the tastes, the mysteries, and the legends of the Haunted Mansion because I'm a big fan. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm a very busy YouTuber. I don't have a whole lot of time in my day. I'm always, editing. I'm always filming. So if you'll excuse me, I have to end the video now. I'm very busy, as you can clearly see.
There's no turning back now. Ah, there you are. And just in time. There's a little matter I forgot to mention.
Oh, am I still filming? Hello everybody, thank you for watching this video on sort of like a return to the Haunted Mansion. I've missed this attraction. It's my favorite Disney ride of all time. Yes, dare I say, even better than Living with the Land. And I just wanted to talk about some theories and some mysteries that just sort of popped up. There's not really a point to this video. The Raven is weird and the death theory might not be real. That's about it. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit that like button. And if you're new around here and you want more videos like this on the Haunted Mansion, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell for when I upload new Haunted Mansion or Living with the Land content. It's usually one of those two. The names that you see scrolling past on the left-hand side of the screen are actually the names of all of my supporters over at patreon.com. They are lovely people who help keep this channel running. For even just $1 a month, you can add yourself to their ranks and get early access to video previews and sometimes even just whole videos like this one. I'm pretty sure they got the full video this time. The link is in the description down below, and a very big thank you to all of the patrons, all of the names that you see scrolling. You all are truly wonderful, and you help keep this channel alive. Thank you very much. Another thank you to the Magic Candle Company for sponsoring this video. I got a lot of fun videos planned for the months to come. I'm going to be going on a couple of Disney trips, like a couple. I'm going to D23. I am very excited for the next few months for the channel, so keep an eye out for some lovely Disney parks and perhaps some other Disney content. We'll see what we can get accomplished at D23. I've never been before. I don't know how busy or chaotic or hard it is to get into these panels and show floors and whatnot, but I'm going to certainly try my best, and you all will be along there. You'll be with me to experience these sort of growing pains and these weird con things. I've never been to a con before, so it's going to be fun though. I think I'm going to have a good time. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.